I don't think there's anything wrong with a guy who has a high body count preferring to date a woman with a low body count or even a virgin. I can't actually think of any why that would be like wrong or even hypocritical.
I guess not. That's just their standard, because I could say the same thing. A woman with a high body count just wants a man with a low body count. And if that's okay for...
rare, yeah.
But if that's, I guess that... I mean, it's just their standard. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But not that I agree, but it just is what it is. Because I feel like that's just a standard that someone might have.
I don't think it's hypocritical, though. Like, it might be hypocritical if he's like like if he was talking shit about high body count women, and then he was like, one, sleeping with a bunch of women, contributing to said problem, and then two, he has a high body count himself, he's talking shit about them, like he's like, oh, this behavior is like abhorrent, blah 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 blah, but he's still like continuing to just like have string one after the other, one night stand.
I get what you're but if you value your woman that much, you need to value yourself that much. And like, it's the golden rule, you learn it when you're 5 years old. Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you're going around fucking everyone, treat people how you want to be treated, you know?
Like, how about this scenario? The guy is 30 years old and he's had some long-term relationships. He's had some one-night stands here. His body count is 30, which I think most people would say, yeah, it's a bit on the high side. But he's like, well, despite my body count being 30, I don't want to date a woman who has a body count of 30. I'd much rather date a woman who's got a body count of like 3 or less, or a virgin.
Is she younger? Because then that would...
Well, that gets into age gap stuff, but like, say she's 3 years younger than him.
Because I feel like if he's older, it is inevitable for him. Like, he's gonna
have more experience. He lived on the earth longer.
He's gonna have a higher body count
because he lived on the earth longer. Then I feel like that's valid.
Yeah, you're gonna have, as you age, you're gonna accrue more sexual relationships typically.
But I just feel like if that's what you want out of the world, you're not gonna treat yourself like that.
What do you mean? I actually don't think that's the case at all. Like, a guy who's had sexual experiences, even through his own sexual experiences, could come to some conclusion or determination that like, it seems to be like he starts noticing patterns, and he's like, these women who have like body counts similar to mine, they are less faithful, they are like low, they're not as high quality as these women who happen to have low body counts.
Why is it more respectful for a man to realize that at 30, but for a woman, you already caught 30 bodies, so you're just done for? Well, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is it more respectful for a man to do that, but a woman couldn't change the same way?
Yeah, so a couple things. So first, I don't think promiscuity is good in either gender. Like, I'm not...
Yeah, like 100%. Like, same, like 100%.
Yeah, I'm not saying like... Because there is this common, I guess, response to this... My position is like, well, why is it okay for men? Like, I actually don't think it's good for men or women to be promiscuous. I wouldn't encourage it. I do think there are some differences though, when it comes to this. But so, sorry, your question was, can you repeat your...
So like, say that I'm also like, I turned 30 and I'm like, wow, the men I'm dealing with, they're crappy. I don't want to sleep around anymore. I want to deal with a man that has less body count. So I feel like...
Yeah, you can do that.
But does your stance still stay the same?
Well, it wouldn't be a double standard insofar as a woman who, say, she racked up a body count of 30, and she's like, oh, I want to go and date a guy with a low body count. Yeah. Or...
is your stance still the same?
No, she can do it. No objections whatsoever.
That's all I was wondering.
I do think there's still a difference, though, and I think women are... they tend to care less about body count. They seem to be more forgiving of men who have a past of promiscuity. And also, I think there is a differential here. So this kind of ties into something else here on this list. So basically, any woman has the capacity to be a slut.
Yeah.
Like, any woman, if she wanted to, even if she's unattractive, could go like 100 dudes in a year, if she wanted to. Most women probably don't want to do that, but like, they can. So because sex is harder to get for men, what you're going to end up seeing is that like, women who are just undesirable, they can still like get sexual access from men, but men who are undesirable to women, they typically don't have that same level of sexual access to women. So men who can get laid a lot are just going to be like kind of across the board deemed as attractive, whether that's physically attractive, whether they have riz or game, or they can elicit the click or the vibe, because a lot of men can't like elicit, because some men, like, they're nervous on first dates. Like, most of you are probably not going to feel the click with a guy who's like kind of like his eye contact is shit and he's fumbling and his voice is shaking a little bit. He's not going to give you the click or the vibe or the chemistry. I guarantee you that. So the men that are capable of elicit, and these are typically players, right? Like most players, they can get the chemistry from you. They can get the click, the vibe, whatever, because they've done it with a bunch of other women. That's how they got sex from all these other women. So these men who are like super attractive in one metric or the other, whether they're good looking, they have status, maybe they're rich, whatever it is, women don't need any of these other components to have sex. Like, a woman could actually be physically unattractive and like 100 dudes in a year.
And you got a point. Not gonna lie, you do have a point.
Yeah, so I think the difference here is that, like, when it comes to the assessment of a partner, men are gonna look at a woman and like, she could have a high body count, but like a woman who has a high body count doesn't necessarily correspond with her being like surface level attractive. And I'm not even talking like 100%. I'm not even talking physically attractive, but like a terrible bitchy woman can like go fuck 100 dudes, but like actually, well, I can maybe make the same. Like, scumbag dudes can also like get. So I don't know. Maybe that's not the best argument, but in any case, like, I know there's like a stronger steel man to my position, but I can't. It's not coming to my brain.
I mean, women like men women like men who get women. They like that. Yeah. That's what attracts them.
But we don't like when they brag about their body count, especially if it's high.
Well, no, you probably don't. But at the same time, it's a million women going to Chris Brown concert knowing damn well he's not picking them, and they'll still spend $1,000 to take a picture with him. So they know he has other women. They know he's messing with other women, and they're still drawn to them because that they're kind of turned on by that. Because sometimes I've heard women say, "Well, if nobody else wants you, why should I?" So it's kind of like. It's a little catchy because it's a little funny. It can go either way, but women really like a man because it's a skill set. Getting women is a skill set. Getting men doesn't require anything. You just got to be there. So to get multiple women, I have to be witty. I have to be charismatic.
Fake job.
I gotta, do a little thing like he said. Like, you don't have to do nothing to get men. Men have to have certain attributes to get women, which so oftentimes those attributes are attractive to women.
Yeah, like the skill set required from a guy, or just like whatever, maybe it's status or whatever, like the requisite skill set for a man to get laid in order to like get that high body count is like, has to be something. Whereas women, you can just show up.
Honestly, I did circle a question that said that it's easier for girls to go on dates than men. So, or not, I didn't circle it. So yeah, I guess I agree with that 100%.
But yeah, no, it's like any of you women here could, like, if you wanted to, you guys could go have sex with like 100 dudes in the next month. And every single woman at this table, let me ask, do you think you could? Like, if you wanted to, you're like, I want to have sex with 100 men in the next 30 days. Do you think you could do it?
I mean, if I wanted to.
If you wanted to.
I know I could, but that wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of men, like, if you were to pull men and be like, in the next 30 days, do you think you can fuck 100 women?
No.
I think I know some.
Unless they're rich with some status. A regular dude can't do that. A regular woman working at Burger King can do that.
Yeah, the average person.
Like I would argue, even like a below average looking woman, she can do it. We've had them on the show.
Elite men can possibly do that.
Yeah, so like when it comes to like the getting laid thing, you use a great word there, elite. So like the sexual optionality that even the average or below average woman has is comparable. The sexual pull that you have is comparable to, as a guy, to get that same amount, you have to be an A-list celebrity, you have to be a professional athlete, like a musician, like top tier musician, famous, like insane status, insane something or other.
And if you look at it, even those guys who are famous and have the pick of the litter, they often just end up dealing with the same girls that somebody else dealt with. Like, you see these girls go from Future to this guy. So even the elite men are having obviously trouble, because if you're a rich man and you can have any woman in the world, and you only seem to get Drake's ex or Chris Brown's ex, they're even having trouble doing it, obviously, because that doesn't make sense to me. If you can have access to the world, why do you want the ex of somebody who's in your field, in your craft? So even elite men who make money still can't just get what they want. So they even have it worse than a woman who ain't got nothing. Go figure.
So what I was going to say, it's not necessarily that I was kind of thinking about, it's not necessarily hypocritical. Well, I mean, I think that it's hypocritical, but if we're not arguing hypocritical for a high body count guy to want a low body count girl, my issue with it, in my experience personally, is that I will have gone on a date with a guy and he will say, "What's your body count?" And I say it, and he gets excited. And he doesn't get excited because he genuinely cares about me, likes my interests, anything like that. He was like, "Oh, like in the past, it would be like, oh, she has like 1 or 2. Meanwhile, he has 20 or 30. And he views it, I feel like, more as like a purity thing. And it's like, it kind of gives me personally the ick.
Oh boy. Okay.
Because I think that someone, having a high or low body count, I don't think I'm any more or less pure than someone who has, a higher or low body count,
Well, your sexual purity would be less pure.
For me personally, I don't want someone, I guess, who looks at my amount and is like, "Oh, well, I want to be with her because, she's less experienced than me." If a guy previously would have gone and like asked me out and we went on a date and he asked me that question, I like immediately shut it down. I'm like, this isn't going to work because you asked that question. And like the very first time that I never felt that was with my current partner. So like everyone has different preferences of what they want, and maybe it's hypocritical or not hypocritical, but I think that there is this kind of like, there's so many guys that are getting with girls and they are having these high body counts, but then girls like are expected to be completely pure, like snow, and it's kind of like,
not
why?
Pure, but purer.
For me, I guess I don't understand why they would want that.
Because we're men, and we know that other men's energy is still. I even seen a study where if a woman is pregnant, like if a woman had unprotected sex with men and they done ejaculate or whatever, that DNA even affects the child you have with her. So look it up. Like the DNA of other men are in the child that they have with the woman. So it's a huge thing when it comes to men and women. Like I said, we keep these conversations real emotional, but scientifically it's just different. It's like if you got a cup of water, if one person put their finger in it, you might take a sip. But if I put my finger in it, she put her finger in it, she put her finger, you're not drinking that water.
I know, but if your cup of water that you drink already like has a ton of fingers that have been in it, but then you want a new cup of water, I guess my issue with
I'm the cup. You can just wash the cup off.
Okay.
The water is the water.
I guess my issue with it comes down to some girls are fine and they like view lower body counts for themselves as like purity, and that's what they want, and they want like a guy who has who likes that, and that's fine and that's great and all. But like I guess what I'm saying is what is the motivation for a guy to like, I guess, look down on a girl for that when he's done the same exact thing? Like, I know you guys explained it, but I still don't necessarily understand.
I mean, because some stuff, because you're not a man, so we're telling you what it is. It's not stopping us from bonding with her. Having sex with multiple men will prevent you from bonding with. I've seen it with my own eyes. Like women who come out of the world, come out of the life, they be crazy. It'd be hard for them to attach themselves because they've desensitized something that is highly valuable. A woman's sexuality is very powerful. That is her. Not to limit her to just sex, but it's a powerful thing. Like life comes out of you. So to just let anybody come in there over and over and over and over and over and over, that's gonna just affect your ability to pair with the man. And when I've met women with high body counts, they're very argumentative. They like to debate. They're not the most agreeable women. They're hard to bond with because you're literally dealing with the men in them. And it's like those men are still in them. They're all over the place. They're confused. Like I said, one man with multiple women, they're becoming more acquiescent to his energy. So it's coming to a point. It's like the bottom of the pyramid as opposed to the top. The top comes to a point. The bottom is very broad. So the woman who has a lot of men, she's the broad bottom. The men that is dealing with multiple women, he's the top. So they're all getting like me. But if you're dealing with multiple men, you're just like them. A jack of trades is a master of none. So it's the difference.